in the labs.
Yeah.
And that's actually what sparked the idea to make a whole person or a whole figure about it, and which became the vessel later on.
Right. We put all the pieces together, the heart, the brain. I know there's a brain floating around there in the tiles. And yeah, we get to see a little bit more of that kind of exploration here as well.
Yeah, and I think help to that idea was the fact that we were doing a hub around it. So we had to fill a very big space.
That was a very iconic moment where you're coming down out of the staircase, you go through the doors, and then he's kind of leaning, and it was the thing that kind of checkmark for the scene. That it all worked. So yeah, thank you, Alberto.
Thank you, Alberto. Yeah, those really impactful moments. And here is kind of like where we're seeing ultimately where we landed with the vessels, a bit more familiar to what we know it as now. And then I do believe we also have a very cool progress video of Albrecht's Laboratories with a tile that prominently features the vessels. Yes. It's amazing to see, and this is only 40 seconds of a video, but this is like potentially months of work put in from the team.
At this step, a lot of like the Lego pieces, so to speak, so like your walls and things like that are pretty well established. So parts of it click in pretty quick, but yeah, the work to get to the point where these things can go quickly it's a huge pile. So.
Absolutely. And again, that lighting coming in, the volumetric fog, just making it so moody. Yeah, and there's the sand again. It's back. All right. Yep. Again, another applause for our wonderful team. And we can't talk about Whispers on the Wall without talking about 1999, right?
I love this piece. I just want to say that.
No, it's one of the, and it's also one of the cooler, well, there's lots of cool moments in that quest, but this is a pretty fun moment of the quest. You're wandering around the labs, you hear that like subway chime, you hear the voiceover come on, and then the next thing you know, it's ripping right in front of you. And it kind of leads us into the really, really cool moment with Arthur. And is this the Arthur concept? Is this where you guys kind of envisioned that going in the quest?
This would be illustrating some of the early ideas for the quest, yeah. We hadn't completely settled on Arthur at this point, as you can kind of tell by the head. But, other than that, yeah, this is trying to capture those moments, which I think, folks will remember from the quest fairly clearly. Yeah,
absolutely. And then, yeah, we can see a little bit here of that building out the subway itself. And I imagine you guys had quite a myriad of references to pull from 1999. And was there anything in particular that kind of helped build this subway area up that we're briefly in for a little bit, but...
Well, I mean, like, some of us were old enough to experience it pretty well, so...
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, and...
We're so glad everybody was able to get here because it sounded like a bit of a bad couple of days, so yeah.
It looks like history is repeating itself, and maybe Mike has a magic, I don't know, some kind of look into the future.
Yeah, we didn't have a crystal ball, but, we were thinking about it.
Yeah, things haven't changed much since 1999, but...
What a strange relic of the past.
Oh, wow. We also see, someone's kind of poking their head out there in the window. We also obviously can't talk about this moment in the quest without bringing in our boy Arthur. Yes, we love Arthur. We love Arthur. And also, more specifically, his weapons, which you guys have been asking us to give you. And luckily, if you're watching this panel and the rest of the panels, you are actually earning the AX52 that you see in his hand right now via Twitch drops. And if you guys are in here right now, don't worry, we're sending you an email with a code. So let's have a look at some of the exploratory concepts that went into the AX52. Now, Kaz, as I understand it, this was a pretty interesting exercise for the team on, going through a more kind of traditional weaponry.
Yeah. So everyone on the team has different likes and dislikes and like things that they're comfortable with making and things that they really want to make. People like doing Infested, people like doing Corpus stuff or the Tenno stuff. There are some people who really just wanted to make some real-life weapons, and this is about as close as we're going to get in Warframe. And we had two very enthusiastic people working on this, people who are big fans of the original real-life counterpart of this weapon, obviously, the AK-47. So it was really cool to see their enthusiasm come
Right.
through on both the concept and the modeling of this weapon.
Yeah, we can see that we're getting this final concept piece that brought us to, of course, the weapon itself. It's very cool. And again, AX-52, this is yours, guys. It's a full-blown weapon that you'll be able to use. Now, we can't forget about Arthur's melee weapon either. Yes, and this will be a sword skin that you can equip on your swords. Now, the cloth around the ricasso of the sword, I'm not sure. I'm not a swordologist. I don't know what that is. But is it fashion or is it function?
Maybe a little both. You know, like you got to wipe your sword off sometimes.
Arthur's a
It's
stylish dude.
conveniently red colored. You know, you never know what you're going to be wiping off. Maybe it's just ketchup or something, right?
Well,
Spreading some jam on your toast in the morning. You know.
yeah, Arthur's got to feed himself before he goes out and hacks and slashes all those bad dudes out there. But were there other kind of embellishments that we explored other than the cloth for the sword?
Yeah, at some point we were thinking about putting maybe a Tamagotchi or something on it.
The idea of Arthur having a little Tamagotchi buddy is incredible. I think we need to maybe make that happen at some point. But yes, you will be able to equip this protocol sword skin on all of your swords in the 1999 update. We've also got more 1999 weaponry, and here's something you guys haven't seen yet. Yeah, it's a good one. All right. We've got like a camcorder situation going on in there. It's Kaz, what's going on with this here weapon?
Yeah, it's got a little 90s style, little flip out screen. You know, it's 90s.
Yeah. And again, like this was probably a cool way for you guys to explore a bit more on what we can do, like on the tech side of things, like how do we want to implement more of that 90s tech into even our weaponry?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so all of the textures that we're exploring here are going to be shared across all the weapons and stuff. And we've got these weird tubes going on there. I wonder what those are for.
Oh, can we tell them, or is that not yet? Oh, I see Greg shaking his head. Spoilers. Okay, no, we're not going to get into it.
Anything.
Here we can see it actually. Yeah. Now I really want to know what's in the tubes.
I'll keep looking.
Oh, all right. We'll have to just wait and see. And it does bear a similar theme to some other things you may see later on. All right. So we got a bit of an interim here. We're going to look at a little bit more of the 1999 content to come, but before, let's take a moment to announce that there will be a limited time opportunity for players to submit their 1999 themed drifter accessories. So if you are a Tennocon artist, or if you are a aspiring Tennocon artist, I know we actually have a Tennocon workshop. Kaz, you're going to be on that for those of you attending here. I think it's at 3? Yeah.
How many Tennocon people are out here in the crowd? There's a few.
No. I heard 8 clap. But if you'd like to, check out the Tennocon
I appreciate
workshop.
you.
Yeah. But if you'd like to get in some cool 1999 accessories, we will have a more detailed post after Tenno Live tonight, so you want to keep your eyes out for that. What do you guys want to see our Tennocon artists do for 1999 content? There's so much.
Well, obviously shutter shades, all right?
Yes. Okay, see, people are agreeing. All right. We are going to change gears here.
Change gears.
Thank you, Kaz. Put that in just for you. We're going to take a look at Warframe's next vehicle, the Atomy Cycle, but since Aoi was introduced with the Atomy Cycle earlier this year, it only feels right to also introduce you to her floof. Yes, very adorable. We have Arthur, now we have Aoi. Greg, what's it been like for the team to kind of venture out in floofs?
Yeah, these are really fun. I don't want to spoil too much, but these might not be the only floofs that might be coming. But yeah, we made one for Arthur, and Aoi was a logical choice. But again, I don't want to spoil too many things here. So
Okay. Keep it safe. All right, so we're going to take a closer look at the atomicycle that Aoi was leaning on. We've got a really cool video to show them off. Let's see the atomicycle. Yeah. Yes. Yes, DE has a lot of motorcycle enthusiasts, and actually a lot of the animators actually ride bikes, which came in handy. And I know, Kaz, you're a fan of motorcycles, and you're also maybe a really good friend of the Stug. So, oh, I'm hearing oohs and ahs. Yes, did the skin change? Yes, there will be skins.
We had a few skins coming.
Yes, we do have a few skins coming.
These aren't all of them, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, Kaz, keeping secrets. So yeah, tell us, Kaz, what's it been like to bring this new vehicle into Warframe with the team?
So when I got word that we needed the Atomicycle ready for the PAX trailer pretty quickly, I decided that I needed to become a motorcycle expert very quickly so that I could lead my artists to create the motorcycle. There's no way I was making it that fast. So I recruited 3 of my guys. It was Andrew, Fyodor, and Vladimir, and we worked together to bring this to life. And then I did the final textures on it, and then we started making skins, and that's the really fun part.
Yes, that's the fun part. And I, as I understand it, there'll also be color customizable to a certain degree.
Yep.
Yeah, and we love that. Yeah. Oh, a clap. We got. Yeah. We love fashion. We love fashion in Warframe. We love colors. All right. So, with such a cool bike, you're going to need an equally cool set of keys. And I don't know if the camera is able to get like a cool shot of Kaz, but Kaz, you always come with the props, and Kaz made a real atomicycle. Well, real. Atomicycles don't exist, but yeah, I don't know if you guys can see that, but looking fresh. Now, obviously, I think we can tell which of the keys is the atomicycle key. Do the other keys do anything? Are they anything special? House keys?
There's something scratched out there on one of them. I wonder what that one says.
Okay, take your screenshots, y'all, and try and see if you can decipher that. All right. Now, we also have a video here from our animation team, and I don't believe this is the first time you guys are actually seeing some of the, oh man, yeah, okay, this is the first time you guys are seeing some of this. So let's see a little bit of it. See, wee, yeah. This is very, orthopedic surgeons look away. Yeah, incredible. So that's just some of the animations. Just a little.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. Yeah, shout out Jay too, who is also rides a motorcycle as well. So there you go. All right. Now, we've got the cool fast bikes. We've got the cool keys. Where are you going to go? How about the mall? What?
What's kids? We're going shopping.
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
Thrilling.
A mall in Warframe. This looks very familiar to me because this was my old stomping grounds as a mall rat myself, but this is not what I would expect to see in Warframe. So it's going to be kind of hard for us to talk about some things without spoiling anything, but can we say anything about this hallway? Or not?
It might be very familiar at some point for players.
Okay. Oh, it does get more familiar. Yes, it does. With a little hint of something new, though. This isn't exactly the Infested we're entirely familiar with. We went from something like really pristine and polished here to kind of a mess. And I'm just curious, what's going on here? What we're looking at?
Well, we know that the Infested are a part of the 1999 experience. So in this case, we were trying to see how we could make them a bit more spicy for this section.
The Infested get spicier than what they are right now? Oh my God, I'm terrified.
Apparently they do.
Oh my God. Corey actually let me know as well. I'm going to just read a quote here. you wanted to create anglerfish-like lures to kind of pull out any potential victims. You pulled a lot from arcade games and other electronics to kind of merge in with that infested style, appropriate era TVs and stuff like that, and referenced a lot of jungles and abandoned malls. Maybe one that we are familiar with, but we also have got to have a furniture store. Perhaps you're looking for a mattress. Hopefully not the ones you get at Cetus, because they're kind of nasty. Yeah, we've got, again, not sure how much we can really spill the beans here on, but...
No, there'd be some very upset people who will be showing up later that would kill us, yeah.
Well, let's take a look and see what else is going to be there. Oh, the mall's watering hole. We've got pizza, burgers, and a high chance of food poisoning, I'm guessing, as well. Yeah, the graphics are very fun for this. Actually, this might look familiar to you guys. Maybe tease this a little bit. Yeah. All right, so you fill up on pizza, you fill up on burgers, you take your greasy, grubby fingers over to the arcade. I can smell this carpet through the screen. It's just feet. This is cool, though, because we have a chance to make some games within a game. So any games that we can spoil anything about the games?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is some folks' childhood right there as well, so it's an interesting location for us to see, and I think you'll get a kick out of it later today.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, you will be visiting this later today. Don't be late.
I think everybody expected that.
Yeah, okay. Yes, this is true. All right. We're getting up to our final area here. What's the time looking like? All right. So now who might you meet in 1999? What characters will you come across? Maybe even in a place like this. How about a new Warframe? This is a Keith Thompson original. Keith, hello, Keith. Is Keith here?
It's an old one.
Yeah, this is an old one. What can we say about Site 09's design here?
Yeah, so this is one of the more original Keith Thompson's interpretations for Site 09. You can probably see we were going for themes of maybe like a weapons specialist, military war veteran perhaps, like an infantry, expeditionary marine. You can kind of see a bit of like an army boot, bandoliers, layers of armor, obviously Warframed up. Nothing is ever quite so generic in Warframe, but those are kind of the themes we're playing with here.
Right, and I know Keith had shared with me that the pose is pretty integral to his design, and that he couldn't really imagine another frame posing quite like this, so it's going to be a pretty interesting character, I think. And also we see a weapon in Site 09's hand as well. Now, Kaz, is that going to be a weapon that players will be able to grab?
Yeah, so we did make a weapon based on this, but we wanted to change the belt feed there so that it's a little more interesting from the player angle, and because it's pretty flat from if you're looking at it third person and stuff. We also wanted to bring some more very Tenno things into this to give it some contrast with the rest of the 1999 world. So we added a wooden stock and some of our old, like more classic kind of nods for Warframe into this weapon.
Right. And we're not going to dig too much deeper into the weapon, but you might see it later, potentially. Now, we also kind of took another stab at it here. Yeah, we have a revised concept here by Corey. And what were some of the things that we obviously held true to the original design, but that was kind of reviewed once again for purposes of putting them in game?
Yeah, from what Kit gives us, we usually still try to get another pass to back view in this case, eventually an alt helmet, a color pass as well, material maybe. So that's the extra step to get it closer to the finish line.
Yes, the bells and whistles. Yeah, you can really see the fabulous details here as well. And do you guys want to see him in game? Yeah? All right. Here's our boy, Site 09. I've noticed that the color scheme has shifted away from the revised concept. What was some of the thinking there?
Not really. Nothing
No
special.
thought.
Just stepping away maybe from more brownish colors into what we went to more green.
Something a bit more neutral. Yeah. Anything else we can say about potentially what players could expect from him in terms of maybe abilities or?
No,
No.
that's people later today.
Sorry, I'm trying to learn things, trying to get things out of you guys. All right, this is very cool, very exciting for us. This is Site 09 is going to be coming out with the 1999 update. Yes, and you might again learn more about him later. Right, we're about to wrap up here. We're about to wrap up. So we've made it to the end. We're about to close the panel off, but while we do that, we've got a 360 look at Site 09 here, so you can really get a feel for him. Yeah, yes. Yeah, fabulous. There is also, I believe, hopefully, hi editorial team, if you can hear me out there, there is an article up at warframe.com that features some of the artists' work and kind of a blurb in their own words on working on some of the things that they saw here. So if you would like to learn more from the artists themselves, you can, if you go on over to that article, and shout out to our artists who wanted to share that with you guys. And yes, you can clap, yes. Thank you so much, guys, for all that you do. Warframe is very special, thanks to you guys, and thank you, Carrie, thank you, Marco.
Thank you to the whole art team. You guys and gals are amazing, and everybody involved, so thank you. And thank you, Danielle, for putting together the presentation. She does so much work to make this look smooth, because, I would not be smooth. So.
They made my life easy because they get to make this cool stuff here, and I just get to show it off to you guys. So yeah. But yes, thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Kaz. Thank you, Greg. Can we hear another round of applause for our incredible panelists on stage here? Yeah. Yeah. And like Carrie said, thank you to our art team. We're so lucky and proud to have you share your talents with us and with the community. And we're so excited we got to show you some really cool stuff today. And of course, thank you to the Warframe team in its entirety. And we got a minute here for any final words. Any final words you want to say to the community watching out there?
Thanks for playing our game.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a good way to end it off. All right. Thank you guys for watching. We've got the Sounds of the System panel up next with Zach and the sound teams. You're not going to want to miss that, yeah? Enjoy the rest of Tennocon, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for watching. Have a good one, okay? Bye.
Sup, Tenno? 90 Zach here. Wondering how you can get your free virtual items through the internet? Just from watching Twitch or Steam? Let me tell ya. Safety's off and destroy your enemies with the AX-52 rifle. By watching Tennocon between 11 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, you'll receive this gun absolutely free. That's a lot of gun for not a lot of work. Once Tenno Live begins at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, that drop is totally going to switch to the Sarin Prime. Watch for 30 minutes and you'll receive this Prime Warframe for free. Spread those spores and watch those damage numbers go up over $19.99. Never gotten a Twitch drop before? Tell the fam to get off the phone and hop online. Linking your account is wicked easy. Just head over to www.warframe.com/Twitch. Log into your Warframe account, follow those instructions, and you're set. Tubular. Watching on Steam? Just make sure you're logged into your Steam account before watching, and you'll be rewarded with item tokens right to your Steam inventory. Once you claim those tokens, log into your Warframe account, and your new items will be waiting for you. Isn't technology wild? That's all for me. Stay cool and enjoy the show, Tenno.
KOL just made it easier than ever to get connected and stay connected. With only 4 compact discs, you can get all of internet at your fingertips. Create your very own Stuff Space page, a space to put your stuff.
Virtual message for you.
Feeling overwhelmed? Don't worry. Here to help you is our virtual assistant Drippy for all of your KOL needs.
No need for waterworks. Drippy is here to help.
KOL. Get connected. Stay connected.
My name's Sean Slater. I'm the voice of Tagfer in Warframe. Thank you so much for playing. It's so exciting to be part of this amazing community, and have a great Tenno conference.
Hey Tennos, my name is Micah Mason and I had the absolute... Hey Tennos, my name is Micah Mason and I had the absolute... Hey Tennos, my name is Micah Mason and I had the absolute pleasure of voicing... Hey Tennos, my name is...
Ah, stupid. words. Anyway, I love it when you use the Bang McFlat. Keep being awesome, and have a great con!
Greetings, Tennocon. My name is Kieran Flynn, and I have the absolute pleasure of voicing this fellow right here. Thank you all so much for coming along this incredible journey with us. For your continued support, your enthusiasm, and your immaculate gameplay. We would not be here without you. Now.
Crew, Orgon Accumulator has been refilled. Big entropy risk exiting fluff is
You are late. I'm so proud to be a member of the Warframe family. Welcome. I look forward to seeing you. Don't be late.
Hey there, Tenno, it's Ben Starr here. I play Arthur in Warframe 1999, and I just wanted to come on here and say I hope you have an amazing Tennocon. I can't believe that I get to be a part of this community. This game would be absolutely nothing without you, so thank you for welcoming
Tenno,
me.
may I extend an invitation to you?
Together.
My latest collection of choice items from the Void is now available for viewing.
You playing Tennocon Alpha?
It's a party, Tenno. See you there.
Amazing. Hello, everyone. Woo! Big round of applause for our amazing voice actors who wanted to say hello. And welcome to the Tennocon 2024 Sounds of the System panel. My name is Zach, and we have a fantastic hour of auditory experiences for you all. But before we dive right in, it's my honor to introduce our panelists for today. To my right, you'd recognize that voice anywhere. It's Rebecca Ford.
Hey, everyone! Hello, hello. Thanks for joining. I'm very excited for the panel, Zach. It's going to be awesome.
Me too. Next up, a man who loves walks in the park, but mainly just to record the sound of snapping twigs. It's Eric Preston.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here. Hello.
On his right, a newcomer to the Tennocon stage, but a master of sound design. Please welcome Mark Perquin.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming out.
Next up, a familiar face who makes music for space. It's George Spanos.
Hey, everybody. Great to see you.
Last but not least, a special guest who you have most definitely heard before. It's Matt Chalmers.
Hey, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Shall we get started?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Our first topic of today is music and effects for quests. Let's jump back to December. Eric, Reb comes to you and says, we have an 8-legged creature that players are going to fight. What's the first step you took to create such a unique boss theme?
This was an amazing enemy from the get-go. The concept art looked phenomenal when it came across my desk. And I think the first thing that we started thinking about was what the voice would sound like. The writers put together a really cool language called Void Tongue. And I think naturally we're like, yes, we need to do Void Tongue. So a lot of his barks, ability barks, are all based in that language. And Mark and I actually did a session for that where we recorded a lot of the dialogue, and then it's kind of manipulated and pitched down to eventually form the final sounds that you hear when you fight this guy. And yeah, a lot of the Void Tongue stuff that we started there eventually made its way into the music as well.
I love it. Now, when you guys are creating themes for bosses, do you get to see the earliest concept of how a fight is going to go, and does it help you make the music, or do you create a song and then the designers go from there?
We actually usually get to see really early versions of the boss fight. So it's a combination between looking at the mechanics of the boss fight, looking at how the boss fight looks, and then deciding on the intensity level. Where do we want to go with the music? How do we want people to feel when they fight the boss? This one's a bit of a slam dunk in terms of theme. Big, imposing, menacing. Void Tongue being the basis for the language. So it all came together pretty well, actually. And then at that point, getting on the phone with Matt and starting to talk about how we want to craft it.
Yeah, and we had done some Void Tongue on the combat, and I think you told me, like, let's push that even further. Let's feature the huge, enormous layers of vocals and So I got Fran, who actually was the vocalist for Duviri, the opera singer. She actually helped me on some of those crazy void tongue chants, and her friend Anika, and the three of us just layered up all these like Ivbok Ishlung Jus Ve Shota Ra, and then we put a bunch of effects on them, and yeah, that was kind of the vibe for that boss fight.
Can we just get a whole live performance of Void Tongue from you here?
Sure, yeah. I won't have a voice after it, but yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Well, let's take a quick listen to what you guys came up with. Awesome. Love that.
It's awesome. Nothing quite resonates like the sound of the human voice, too, right? Like whenever there's an opportunity to put some, vocals in something, it always gives it this much more flavor, right? It's just, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking, Matt and I would always go back and forth with notes. More voice, more layers.
yeah. It was just like, oh, can we add another rhythm on top of all of those? Sure, let's try it. And then you just were like, yes, even more.
It adds to the playing experience when enemies with hands are jumping at you while vocals are playing as you're fighting them as well. Love that. This same update, Whispers in the Walls, also brought a brand new tile set to Warframe, Albrecht's Laboratory. Filled with beakers, gilded machines, and vials of elemental ooze, there are many things to break in this tile set. I must personally destroy everything in my sight, so I have to know how many glass jars were broken in the recording process, and did you have a favorite recording technique for the labs?
We're always breaking jars and glass. We have been for 10 years. So we have lots of sound libraries of all sorts of stuff that we've kind of broken over the years. But actually, Laura and Jeff were the sound designers who handled all the breakables. And as they started kind of coming in, we were starting to see all these kind of little levels of detail that were happening. You could break the little vase on the desk and the desk itself and the machines on the desk. So they did a great job going through and meticulously placing all those sounds for all the different items that you can break. And when they all kind of break together, it's very satisfying.
It is very satisfying, and players can even just walk around without breaking anything. You can hear the machine moving and all of that, so it's a very complicated tile set. Would you say it was the most complicated tile set you've had to work on?
I think so far, yeah. I mean, the open world stuff is obviously very complicated, and there's a lot that goes into the open worlds. But in terms of tile sets, this is probably the most complicated. But I knew immediately that the breakable stuff was working when I couldn't stop breaking things. It's like every time I'm running around testing, it's just constant breakables.
I love that. We also met some new faces in the labs. Let's talk about the Cavia. Reb, how did this cast of characters come to be?
Right. Well, when we originally came up with the idea that we would find Albrecht and Trotty's laboratory, we were trying to think of how we could make a syndicate out of kind of nothing, because we didn't know what the laboratory would host. And I think there was a moment when I remembered how the Russians sent Laika to space as the first animal in space. And I was like, oh, Albrecht would have sent animals into the void at some point, and they would have come back speaking in void tongue. And that seems like a really compelling way to start a character arc for Albrecht in some of his lesser known science, especially because we knew he had a bond with animals because of Kalimos from his entries. So the first one that came together was the Norg, and I was like, oh, sending a fish to the void and it coming back smart just makes sense. And then we actually had the tag for as an art asset. I think one thing that we learned in our pace of updates is if you have something and it can work in an update and you believe in it, just go. So we had Tagfur, who is actually a deer species that we were going to use in the plains of Eidolon that never got used. So I was like, oh, he's going to the void. And the bird as well. I was like, sorry, folks, no planet Earth for you. You're going to the void. And we sent them all on their journey, and the rest is history.
I think I remember an early version of that, actually. That's right. And I think we had done sounds for it and everything, and then we pulled it.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not going to waste work.
Yeah.
Into the void. So
there you go.
Yeah, so it's all, sorry, animals.
We're efficient in our casting.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
people.
Listen, we gotta do it.
Love it. And the sound team, how different was it setting up all this voiceover work for animals?
I mean, when we saw this, I think initially we went to, we're going to have to process the voices a lot, add a lot of animal sounds in between words. But as we began to receive the performances back from the actors, they were so strong that the decision was made to just feature them basically without any processing. I think there's a tiny little bit here and there. Bird 3 almost sounds like there's animal noises introduced, but that's just the actor's performance. So yeah, we just kept it super clean, super raw, and featured their great performances.
It's all about the casting too, right? Like, it's such an important part of the whole thing, and people don't think about that as much. It's like, obviously, great writing and everything as well, but when you cast the right person, it just works, and they embody that character, right? And it just makes our job so much easier too, so yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, getting your heart broken by a Stereon, you just end up as a talking fish in Warframe. That's
The ultimate payback.
Payback.
It's been, the team that worked on that, the writing, everything was just really lovely to behold and watch it come together.
Let's check in on our cast of critters now.
Hey, how's it going? Are we winning? We all got something to do. Mr. Fishinacci's got his thing. Mr. Tagfir's got his thing. I got my thing. It's so nice.
Another day, another Netracell, another poke in the eye for the mother hugger that consigned us to this mess. Come on, let's roll. Are we heading out then?
Yep.
A new day dawns. Let us to work. Yes, good. A good day to you. I love you.
I love that line so much. I love you. As you know, we had a follow-up update to Whispers in the Wall, Dante Unbound. Now, the team had a chance to cook up some unique vocals for this update theme, and they bring such a great tone to the update. Matt, tell us a bit about how the process of setting the stage for Page Master Dante went.
Yeah, well, we had a piece that I think we actually showed this at last Tennocon. A friend of mine, Alex Samaras, sang on it. And it was a section of an ambient track that I did. And I think it was actually word from Reb that was like your favorite section. And so we were like, how about we make a combat section or a combat track out of that section? So I got Alex back over. I wrote a new piece and featured the same melody, but like the combat version of it. And Alex just nailed it. He had done a bunch of throat singing and stuff for me as well. So he has like the ability to do the really straight, beautiful melodic singing, but then he can also do the really intense, like low throat singing. So we kind of just found a happy medium, and his performance was amazing.
I love it. And as you mentioned, the vocalist Alex Samaras does make a return, and we have a behind-the-scenes video of him recording some of the vocals for the Dante Unbound update theme.
Shotara Vagidla
Amazing.
Love it.
Such a great melody. There's a great little melody there. Fantastic.
And some more void tongue there too.
Yes. Did Alex mention it was hard to sing in a language he's never read before?
It was actually okay because he's also a jazz singer, so he does a lot of do's and da's and bips and bops. So I said like, this is kind of how I'm saying it. Sorry, writers, if we pronounced anything differently than what you imagined, but we just used our best interpretation of it. So
Hopefully there's no void tongue specialists out there.
Yeah, anyone?
Scrutinize.
I love the void tongue and jazz connection.
I know. I feel like jazz just caught so much shade for being also like jazz is like the void tongue of music. So
I love it. Well, let's switch gears to a very recent quest, Jade Shadows. Ooh.
spoilers, kind of.
Spoilers
Actually,
ahead.
yeah, spoilers.
Yes, Rep. This quest is an incredibly unique storyline for Warframe. Keeping it light on spoilers, did you have an idea of where you wanted the music to transport us with the story of Stalker and Jade?
Yeah, so Jade Shadows as a quest had actually been in development for about 18 months with different story beats, and it was like we wanted the New War Ends Stalker story, and we kept churning and churning. And then when Mike Skyers proposed the choir frame that you know as Jade, it really made every piece of idea fit together with, oh, okay, Jade and Stalker are in the same update and they have a story together. And when Skyers called it the choir-themed frame right away, that set in motion a series of sound decisions. And then when the story finished, and we kind of like looked over the script, and it was, this is what's gonna happen? Like, how can you make this work? Because I don't think there's any way that the story we told in Jade Shadows would have worked with, like, of course, you know, if you can't hear it, that's of course fine, but the music was an artistic choice to pair with the animations that you can see. So that, yeah.
Yeah, we took that theme and ran with it. And with the theme for Jade Shadows specifically, I think we wanted to bring together a lot of themes from older parts of Warframe as well. So we're bringing in, you know, Stalker's theme, Jade's theme, tying it together with, you know, the Naga drums. So there's a lot of pieces that we wanted to incorporate into this. So kind of this big ball of stuff, you know, eventually throwing that over to Matt. And then when I heard kind of Matt's first draft, it was like, yes, this is totally going to work. The big beautiful section where the choir kind of swells and ascends. Yeah, it was kind of great from the get-go. And then after that, it was just on to polishing it up and working on different production elements.
Love it. And you guys got to work with a choir and did a lot of recording sessions for that. How was that experience for you for you guys?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, I love being able to go to a studio and record live anything, any musicians, vocalists, and this was a special one because we were able to get 12 singers all in the same room, and you know, hearing my theme the first time was just like, oh yeah, okay, that's perfect. That's way better than the MIDI. That was just a placeholder, and it was great.
Awesome. And we do have a behind the sounds look at how that choir session went. Let's take a look.
Get your Kleenex ready.
I'm Eric Preston. I'm audio lead at Digital Extremes. I've been here for coming up on 10 years and here to talk about the music and sound effects for Jade Shadows.
And they kind of do a pitch for her landing, and then I guess you'll take that middle section as the loop, right? Exactly, yeah.
I'm Mark Perquin. I'm a sound designer on Warframe here at Digital Extremes. I've been here for just about 5 years.
We'll get those shouted as well as like an awe.
I've got a choir background myself, so when I heard that there was going to be the choir frame, I asked Eric if I could take the sound design.
That's one ability, that chord.
Right.
You can cast any of the 3 F sharp A, C sharp abilities. While you're up there, you can also cast those. Right. So we need to keep it all in the same chord.
When Mark was kind of workshopping his ideas for the choir, he had wanted to record a live choir. We were going to do it separately, but after I'd spoken to Matt and we decided to record a choir for the music, then we thought it was just a natural progression to do a session that included both the music and the sound effects for the Warframe.
So, yeah, bass, tenor.
So we wanted there to be that choral aspect for sure, but we also wanted there to be a bit of dissonance. And add a little bit of that strange tone that you hear in the Warframe. So there's lots of off-key singing, lots of whisper shouting from the choir.
We kind of played with all sorts of different vocal effects, chords, notes.
We wanted to tap into the strange sounds that they were able to produce.
The choir is so talented that whenever we would suggest ideas or want to try different ideas, they could reproduce that very quickly on the fly. It felt like sort of having your own live synthesizer, except they're human beings and they're amazing.
Cool. Here's the tuning of those chords. Okay. It's all good.
Eric definitely had some great direction as to how he wanted the frame overall to sound. I had some specific ideas for the 4 abilities that I wanted to hear, and then Matt was able to pull that all together in a very musical way and in a way that fits with the music that we'd also recorded for Jade. All of the notes that you hear in the frame's abilities are all in the same key and in one chord actually that fit really well with the music that we'd already recorded.
Whenever you're in the studio recording, the magic and the feel that you get from live musicians, you just can't reproduce that. So that's something that we'll definitely be looking to do for score again in the future.
More! I deserve a challenge!
Amazing.
You condemn our
Now, Mark.
appetites, yet fail
Tell us a bit more about that.
Shout out to Mobley Choirs of Canada. Local, very renowned local choir here. I grew up singing, so I've got a choral background. Yeah, I was very excited when I heard about Jade. I absolutely wanted to grab the sound design for her.
Was there
How come I'm
something
only
that you-
finding out about this now, Mark? Come on, where have you been hiding this?
Secret.
Might have come up in an interview, George.
What were some of the specific things from your time in a choir that jumped out when you were making the ability sounds for Jade?
Sorry, say that again, Zach.
What were some of the things that you had from your time in choir that jumped out right as you were making these abilities?
Honestly, a lot of the sounds in Jade and a couple people in the choir that we recorded with Matt remarked on this, that it's really a lot of vocal warm-ups that you're hearing in Jade. It's a lot of that whisper shouting, the dissonance. It's people loosening up their voices, and you just get some really cool creative sounds when there's a group of people doing that, and they play off each other as well. Yeah, it's just something that you need live singers to be able to do. Like Eric said, you can't just use a synthesizer for that.
I love it.
Welcome.
Right. Let's move on to our next topic, weapons and warframes. If you've seen a dev stream before, we love taking a look at how certain weapons and warframes are made directly from the desks of our sound designers. And we do have a few videos for you today covering all things Jade Shadows. But before we dive in, Mark, again, you had a chance to do some of the ability
lovelies.
on for Jade, as we were talking about. How did that differ from previous warframe sounds that you've worked on?
Yeah, I guess just coming back to the choral background, for Jade, I had a pretty good sense right out of the gate, the overall tone that I was going for. It wasn't something that I had to figure out or sit down and, workshop. I had a pretty good sense in my own mind of the type of tone we were going for, and that's pretty similar to what you hear. And then for the more, to bring that into the Warframe language of sound design, Eric had some great design direction there as well. And in terms of dealing with the choir themselves, I mean, Matt's the choir whisperer over here. He was able to take what was in my head and just communicate it to them in just an incredible way and try out some new things too.
Well, Mark had a lot of great ideas, and I would just be like, okay, let's try that, and then basically direct them. If we're wavering pitch or something, I'd be like, if I go up, we're all going up, or if I'm like going up on this side and down on this side. So we just like got them all doing a bunch of experiments, and you'll hear it in the upcoming videos. They were put to good use.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a great library of sounds now with this choir. You're going to hear a lot of it even later on today in some of the 1999 stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
my goodness.
hell yeah.
Well, let's take a listen to what you
Meditation. War is a lifetime
Hey, I'm
scholarship.
Mark, and I'm a sound
The
designer
enemy,
here at Digital
no
Extremes.
fighter,
Today,
teacher.
we're going to be taking a look at the sounds behind Jade's third ability.
Let's take a quick listen to how the ability sounds in-game. Now let's check out the Reaper session so we can peel back the layers that make up this ability's sound. Let's take a listen to just the choral sounds in this ability. Now let's mute the choir to hear everything else. That's good, but what really makes Jade special is all that choir, and so here's how that fits in. First, we have the initial impact. This is made up of a shout, some harsh whispers, and the choir singing a chord. We also have this sustained section, which represents the eyes that surround Jade during this ability. And making up this section, we have another more dissonant choir chord and some more sustained choir whispers. And now let's listen to these without any effects to get a better sense of how the choir sounds on their own. That's incredible, but we still want to add a bit of movement. There are a handful of plugins on each of these tracks, but this spin tracer is really doing some heavy lifting. It's kind of like a granular synth meets Doppler, and it has some pretty good visuals to show how we're throwing the whispers all around to add some movement. And now that we have Jade's voice nailed down, let's take a quick listen to the other layers that make up a lot of the impact and sci-fi elements of Jade's sound. We have our LF layer, truly a must for any Warframe. Some glass impacts with delay added for fantastical vibes, and some mid-frequency synth to round it all out. With an ear for these elements on their own, let's take one last listen to the ability in-game.
Love it. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Amazing. The whispering is making it very hard to play Jade late at night because they're all around your head and you're like, someone's behind me. Awesome. Of course, this update also featured a fan favorite character, the Stalker. Yeah, cheers for the Stalker. I love the Stalker. But more importantly, Stalker generously donated the blueprint for his sick ride, the new Stalker landing craft. There it is. Sound designer Chris Tezera is going to take us behind the scenes on how the sounds were made for this one-of-a-kind landing craft.
Hey everyone, it's Chris from the sound team. Today I want to show you how I did the sound design for Stalker's Terror landing craft skin. Let's go. For the Terror landing craft, I wanted to have sound elements that sounded ominous and powerful, just like Stalker. I also wanted it to be completely recognizable as Stalker's ship. But first, I needed realistic sounds for the landing craft's engine. Lucky for me, our team recorded jet sounds at the London Air Show a few years back. I used these jet flybys as a core part of my sound. Thanks, guys. First, here's the jet sounds on their own. Then I added some low-frequency droning and some aggressive thruster sounds. Now let's Stalkerize it.
Your sentence is death.
I started with the Stalker bowfire sound. First, I time stretched it, then I added some processing, then I ramped the pitch up over the course of the sound. Next, I took samples of Stalker's breathing, I pitched it down, and I added some processing. And here's the final result, the Terror landing craft taking off. And there you have it. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of Tennocon.
Love it. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks. Chris is here right now somewhere.
Is Chris here?
So shout out to
Show
Chris.
yourself, Chris. Thank you. Now, we did have a taste of some Stalker gameplay with the Duviri Paradox last year, but his abilities got a fresh coat of paint for Jade Shadows. Sound designer Giovanni Agapito is going to show us how those ability sounds for Stalker were made.
Hey Tenno, my name is Giovanni and I'm a sound designer at DE. Today I'm going to show you how I created the sounds of one of the Stalker's abilities. First, let's listen to the sound in-game. For the Stalker, we wanted to maintain the balance between a very feared character, like an overall dark vibe, but at the same time without losing the game's sonic palette. For the punishment ability, I created 3 sounds that play at the beginning, middle, and end of it. Let's hear the first of these sounds. This one has some really cool layers, for example this energy layer that has a pitch automation and becomes more acute over time, creating a sonic tension until the Stalker releases the projectiles at the end. For the build-up sound, there are more tonal and sci-fi elements, as you can notice. One of the layers has a really cool automation in one of the plugins, which makes the sound becomes a riser until the last sound is played. Let's hear the sound of projectiles being released at the end. For that, I created several whooshes using my own mouth and made them very high-pitched, distorting each layer a little to contribute to a more sci-fi vibe. After putting it all together, this is what the punishment ability sounds like in-game. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching this behind the scenes, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the show. Bye!
Thanks, Giovanni. All right. Before we move on, we actually have an audience question all the way back from a Dev Shorts in April. The question is, what is your go-to software for creating these sounds? Do you have a plugin or tool that you can't live without? We'll start with you, Eric. Unless, Reb, you've been dabbling in some sound design lately.
Hey, I just do what Eric tells me when it comes to sound. So get in the booth, cry some more.
Yeah. Cry more.
Okay, yeah.
We use well, I use a program called Reaper. I think most of the team does too. Matt, you use Logic, right? Yeah. So yeah, we use Reaper as our DAW. That's what you saw on the screen in the video. And yeah, my favorite plugin is the L2 limiter. Definitely cannot live without that one. So.
Did they pay you to say that?
Yeah, L2. Lots of fun. My turn, right?
Did you see the Spin Tracer? I'm milking every drop I can get out of that.
He's also got shares in Spin Tracer.
That's right. Another one that I probably put on, it's in every session, almost every track. Kilohertz has this little plugin called Toss, and basically what that does is just delays your left or right channel a few to 100 milliseconds and spreads your stereo. So you can turn any mono sound into a stereo. I think it already needs to be...
Pain of truth is but the smarting of a cleansed wound. Those who stop
That's my boss. You're right. You're hired. Yeah. Yeah, for me, I think
Tenno deployed.
Q3, I really love Pro Q3. Just great EQ. I like Microshift as well, and I use that on all the Prime trailers to widen the voices and stuff. But you know, at the end of the day, we get this question a lot too. But it's important to just not think too much about plugins and software and everything. And it's more about what you put into it and where do you start with, you know, what the sounds you start with.
again, like the voice acting, it all starts with good source, right? So you have good source going in, and that's the big thing, and then the creativity behind it. Don't let that limit you in your creativity if you don't have a certain plugin, for sure. So
I think the analogy that probably a lot of people here is easy to digest is if you've ever played the vocal patch on an electric keyboard and you can hear the ahs. It doesn't sound like a real choir, but going back to the real choir that we were able to record and that source, that's what we're talking about when we talk about having good sources.
It's always unique, right? It's always a unique performer. It's in a unique space. It's a unique delivery. It's always going to feel different, and it's the magic there, right? The magic of the performance and of the sonic fingerprint, really. Yeah, it's so important for sure.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to a little plugin called Little Altar Boy. It was used a ton on anytime I need to have really low vocals and I'm doing it myself and I can't sing a certain low note. You can pitch it down, but you can also change the formant, so you can adjust you can make yourself sound like a chipmunk and you get really high and nasally, or you can have sort of this dark sort of sound. And so for all the I think I'd pitch that down an octave, and you can adjust it to make it kind of sound natural. But I think it worked really well with the void tongue and stuff because it just sounds kind of otherworldly.
That's a great plugin. Back that one up for sure.
Void tongue brought to you by Little Altar Boy.
Just wait till this big altar boy.
Oh my god! Hey, I love that. Yeah. I sang it in my head for
That's awesome. Well, if you asked that question back in April, there you go. My next question for the cast is focused on our weapons. Many of our weapons can be identified just from their shot, reload, or swing. How do you craft a weapon's identity through sound?
Yeah, weapons are a really fun process. We all take turns doing weapons, I would say. But the core experience of doing a weapon is an iterative one. Because it's a sound that you hear so often, there's often a lot of time put into just playing with it. So after we've done our first draft, getting the character right, getting the punch right, and getting the power right, then it's just a matter of hearing it over and over and over and kind of sanding off all the rough edges. It's a super fun process, and each one is unique because we all work on them.
It's funny too because it's like you have to kind of be happy with what goes in, because if you try to change it later, you'll hear about it in the forum.
No bueno.
And but it's great though. It's like the fact that people get so attached to the sound of a weapon. It's just, it's so awesome to see that the sonic identity is just so, it resonates with people so much. Sometimes in bad ways, but most of the time in good ways.
Seems like you're still traumatized from the Brat and Vandal sound change. And
a little trauma there. The heck too, I think.
Oh, the
back
heck.
in the day.
Yeah.
It was what the heck, because we changed it. But we changed it back too, so that's okay. It's okay.
Now, there is such a thing as writer's block. Do you guys have sound block? Have you ever just been struggling to find that perfect identity for a weapon through the sound?
Oh, yeah, for sure. All the time. It's a totally normal part of the process, I think. I think with any kind of creative discipline, you're always going to run into a block or where the ideas aren't coming as easily. And usually, like you said at the very beginning of the panel, a good long walk in the park does the trick for me, at least.
Sometimes for me too, like when that happens, I'll just go into the sound library, and instead of using search terms, I'll just randomly click on things and listen to
You're
them.
a hero
And
to these people.
Sometimes you come up with
And
the
to
most
me.
unique sounds that way because something you
Here's
wouldn't
what we can
expect
do for you.
will be like, oh, that'll actually work really well for this weapon, and that's what gives you the unique kind of weird sounds, right? Is the unexpected. I find I do that a lot, actually. Yeah.
Exploring old libraries that you've recorded that you just like, when am I going to use this? But you recorded anyways.
I've got stuff that I recorded a long time ago and come across it, and I'm like, oh man, I forgot about this sound. This is just perfect here. So yeah, it's always fun. It's like Christmas every day when you do that. So.
Love that. Well, a similar topic, but something more new / old. Let's talk about some 1999 stuff today. As we saw on the art panel, things are a lot more real. How was the sound design process for things that have a real-life counterpart? Was it easier?
You may punish our enemies.
I'll let you handle that one, man, if you want. You've designed a lot of the 1999 stuff.
we're talking about. We'll leave the thing for later.
We'll leave the thing.
Okay, so working on 1999 stuff, I'd say it's more of a technical challenge, if anything, to get some of these real-world sounds into the game in ways that new systems that you're able to interact with things that you haven't really been able to interact with before, and figuring out how are we going to ground that in reality while also giving it that signature sci-fi sound that that we love to put into Warframe.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to subtlety as well. I mean, in some of weapons, traditional Warframe weapons, we can go as crazy as we want, especially with kind of the corpus stuff. There's really no limit to how wild you can get. For these, we're definitely taking it a more realistic, grounded approach, but we still love to put our spin on things. You know, it's kind of subtle, interesting layers here and there that maybe are from a synthesizer or from just a weird library that we recorded a long time ago. So there is still a little bit of that Warframeization that goes into all the sounds we've been making.
Awesome. Of course, we have two familiar faces by now from 1999, Arthur and Aoi. You may have seen them walking around the convention, but the amazing Ben Starr and Alpha Takahashi lend their voice to these new faces. George, once there was a time where we were recording our own staff for Warframe characters. What's changed over the years now that we have these epic cinematic quests?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think like that it was from humble beginnings, right? Where it was pretty much all staff, you know, like Darvo, Sargus Rock, Lotus, obviously. And yeah, it was a lot of fun because you could just grab someone after lunch and be like, hey, can you meet me in my office and we have some lines to record. And it's kind of crazy too because one of the employees who impressed me the most, James, he's so quiet and he's so like unassuming. He's like, hey, how's it going? And then he gets in the room. And you're just like, where did that come from? And so but, you know, obviously, as we've grown the universe and we've developed the characters, it's important to, you know, seek outside talent as well. But we still use people from in the office. But yeah, it's always great, again, like the sounds, to have a mixture of different flavors in there, right? So, yeah.
Love that. Now, we do actually have a little tease of another character from 1999. Just a little audio tease. Let's take a listen.
A slug dares to show its face at night.
Ooh, who could that be? I guess we'll have to just watch and find out. Now, I know you guys had some fun with the music design for 1999, and we did get a little bit of a taste in Whispers in the Wall. But Matt, did it feel like you had a blueprint for 90s music when composing, or did you want to make something unique that could still fit within Warframe?
Yeah, well, it's a similar process every time. You know, you got to do your research and figure out, okay, because you can say 90s music, but it's like, what 90s music? So we narrow that down. We're like, okay, more rock, industrial rock, metal, punk. Okay, we're getting closer. And the first thing I did was that combat track that you saw in the subway scene last Tennocon. And that kind of became, I did a bunch of creating sounds and finding